Hi guys, and welcome to the final preview of the season. Thank the Lord. I didn't think I'd be saying that at the beginning of the season, but yeah, I'm very thankful that the season is coming to an end very, very shortly against Sheffield Wednesday. Tomorrow at the Stadium of Light, of course, Sheffield Wednesday need a point to stay up. So it's a lot bigger of a game, to them than it is to us. However, we still need to remain professional, and I would love to see us out on a positive note for what has been a pretty, I would say, drab season, but there has been eventful points of it, haven't there? But they just always seem to be in a negative light, everything that's happened this season. So in that way, I'm very happy to the back of the season, and I'm already, I don't know why, it's just what I've been a Sunderland fan does, I'm already optimistic for the summer. Not that I necessarily have any sort of historic background to jump back on to say, yes, we have something to be excited about, because the last couple of windows have been, piss poor, haven't they? So I don't know why, it's just the optimist in me. I'm optimistic that we're going to have a good window, hopefully, and then start off really positively come pre-season. But again, that's the optimist in me. Where that's coming from, it's your guess is as good as mine. But yeah, so before we do properly get into the preview, I've just watched Mike Davies in his pre-match presser, and he did say some pretty interesting things, some pretty not damning things. I think that probably overhypes it a little bit. But he essentially said that he takes responsibility, his proportion of the blame for the 13 games that he has been put in charge of. But he also said that the players, a lot of the time, get away scot-free. And he said he'll be telling them after the game on Saturday that they need to go away and reflect, because they sort of get away with quite a lot. When things aren't going to plan, it's either the head coach's fault or the club's fault, and the players aren't blamed. However, when things are going well, it's all given to the player. And although I feel like I've probably been a little bit of a Mike Davies sympathist, or sympathiser to say, I do agree with him to a degree. Although, however, he did say in his pre-match presser several times that he's not one to make excuses, and he doesn't want to make excuses. But then he would follow up with several excuses. He was one of them. So, when I say I'm a sympathiser with him, I've said this throughout, so I've been consistent with this from my viewpoint on Mike Davies. He has made mistakes in terms of maybe some starting 11s, maybe some changes at the wrong times, or the changes he did make during games, they weren't good enough, or they were incorrect, or they were confusing. However, I do believe that the players, and I've said this a lot in recent weeks, they need to take responsibility. And not many people are saying that, because it's a lot easier to have a go at Mike Davies and saying he's shit, or is this, that and the other, in the club are awful, ran by charlatans, which, again, you have a point for all that. But to completely give the players a pass for what's happened for not just the last 13 games, but for a large chunk of this season, I think that'd be naive from the fans as well. A lot of these players do need to have a good hard look at themselves and say, I wasn't good enough, or what can I do to improve? And believe me, it's a hell of a lot that some of those players, even some of our better players, can do a hell of a lot. For example, Patrick Roberts, who we know on his day is one of the best players in the Championship. However, what we've got from him in the season, yes, he's had a couple of injuries here and there, but when we have seen him, he's been appalling and been League One at best, and not even a decent League One player, mind you. So it's one of them. A lot of players have underperformed, and as a team, we haven't done good enough. Coaches, all the managers have some kind of responsibility to say. The club definitely do with the piss poor recruitment, but the players that we do have, at times, definitely should have done better than what we have done. It's all well and good saying, oh, well, they're too young, they're this, that and the other, but I don't think that excuse washes with every single sort of example and scenario that's happened this season. It doesn't wash with me at all. Everyone needs to take their portion of the blame. So I do agree with Mike Davies in that sense. When he was asked what he thinks the club needs to do in terms of going forward, he said obviously the word experience gets thrown around a lot, but he said not necessarily even just experience with someone who's over the age of 30, just someone who's played maybe 200-300 games in the Championship or at a good level, a decent level, and he needs depth. If it's not going to be that kind of level of experience, it's depth, because we don't have depth in so many areas of the pitch, which again, I totally agree with that. So what he's saying isn't necessarily wrong, although it might not be what everyone wants to hear right now. But going into this game against Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield Wednesday, as I say, they need a point to stay up. They have a lot more to fight for than we do. So it's going to make for a very open game at the Stadium Light, because although under this brilliant run under their coach at the minute. He's been heavily linked with us, and I'd love to see him at Sunderland, to be fair, Danny Roll. But I will see this as being a very open game, and despite their brilliant run of form, they do still have their weaknesses. So I think if they go all guns blazing, there's a very good chance that we could really hurt them if we had a striker, which we don't. But, you know, we do still have players on the pitch that can do damage. But I say strangely, but I can't see us winning this game, which it's a really shit way to be, but I don't. I just think that Sheff Wednesdays have so much more to fight for. There's going to be a lot of passion in there. And sometimes passion makes up more than quality. And particularly in a game like this, I just think it will overpower us, because we've got players in there who, again, need to take their share of the blame, who maybe haven't put enough effort in or haven't been good enough, or the passion hasn't been there. And if they don't match the passion of Sheff Wednesday, it can overrun us. And I think that is going to happen tomorrow, sadly. It'd be ideal for us to finish the season on some kind of a high after what's been a disappointing season, as I say. But I just can't see it at the moment. I can't see it. But what team I would go for, I'm not going to do the full 11 and what have you. Sirkin, we thought he may get a start, but apparently it's a couple of weeks too late for him, so we're not going to see Sirkin this season for the remainder of the season. I go for a 4 at the back. I know that DODDS is probably going to want to go maybe a bit more assured and try and play it safe, maybe to keep his record as best as he possibly can by putting 5 at the back, but I'd go 4. I'd like to see someone like a Watson come in, even just off the bench for 5-10 minutes towards the end of the game, or 20 minutes, whatever it is. It'd be nice to give him an opportunity. It's a perfect example of a perfect opportunity there. Maybe even start with a striker. I know Hamia hasn't he hasn't lit up the world this season, but whenever he's been given one chance or a 10-minute chance and he looks shit, then we won't see him for weeks on end, and he doesn't even come off. Just for the last game of the season, stick him up top, and then, so we actually have a striker up top. Maybe Clark, maybe even Roberts in there, who has, again, had a shit season, but try and get his end of the season on a positive, try and get his head up and try and build his confidence up. Rig in there, maybe Rig as the number 10, although I keep on saying I'd like to see him as a centre midfielder. Maybe have him as a 10, and then have like an Ekwa and an Evans in the middle, something like that. And across the back you can kind of go many different ways, can't you, really, with Alessi, O'Nien, Ballard, and then Hume, or maybe even Pembele, maybe even stick Bishop in goal, but I don't think that's going to happen. But and Pato. But that's probably what I would generally go with up top anyway, or towards the final third. Again, it's going to be an open game, so someone like Patrick Roberts, if he does manage to switch himself on, he could have a good game at the stage, in front of the home crowd as well. It could be a perfect time to build his confidence up a bit. And I know I keep on slating him, say how shite he's been this season, but again, it's one of them. And I just don't rate Abdullah Bar either to come off the right side. I know Rig's been playing right wing, but I don't know why. He's not done a particularly poor job there, but it's not his position, is it? But yeah, so that's probably the lineup I would go with, maybe, or even just stick Job up top as opposed to Hamia. But I just think it's the last game of the season. Let's give a striker a chance. And Job, again, it's one of them where you give him a rest. He comes in, he smashes it, and then he goes to kind of just sort of absent performances time and time again until he gets rested again. So it's one of them. I don't know. Either it's a difficult one. We've been last game of the season. We don't have anything to play for. It's a difficult one. But in terms of score prediction, like I said, I think they could run us ragged, because I just don't think we're going to be set up mentally more so than anything to match Sheff Wednesday. I think they're going to really come at us tomorrow, and I don't think we're going to have it in us. I hope we do, and I hope we do end the season on a positive. And I'd like Sheff Wednesday to stay up, but obviously I'm never ever going to will Sunderland to lose. But I think we're going to, and I think it's going to be 3-0 to Sheff Wednesday. It's going to be one of them. It's going to be a really, really poor start to this. Poor end to the season, and I can see a 3-0 defeat on the horizon. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully, even if it's 1-2-0, Hamia gets a goal, Roberts gets a goal. That'd be ideal. But I can see it. I can absolutely see it. 3-0 to Sheff Wednesday. And they're going to have an absolute party afterwards. That's the way I predict it. But bit negative, but who can blame me? Either way, let me know in the comments down below. Who would you start? What do you think of Mike Dodd's comments before the game in the pre-match presser? And what score do you think it's going to be as well? Let me know in the comments. But if you have enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It's massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the SUNDERLAND Army. But for now, take care and stay jammy.